Hey guys, it's Sadie, and today I'm going to be doing another one of my book videos. Basically what I do in these videos is I get a bunch of books, like a bunch of books. I'm going to show you the ones that I've read, the ones that I'm currently reading, I'm only reading one book. The one that I'm currently reading, and I'm going to show you two books that I am going to be reading. So without further ado, let's get into the book haul. The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nielsen. This is the first book that I've ever read of hers. Oh my goodness, I can't even explain how good this book is. From how it's written, to the characters, to the storyline, to the poetry, the front cover. Like, I honestly can't even say how much I love this book, and I'm really excited to read her next book, which is The Sun is Also a Star. But this book is about a teenage girl named Lenny, but some people call her John Lennon, some people call her Len. It changes. And her sister Bailey died, and now she's stuck in this like controversy between like two boys. One is Toby, and he's this very quiet, like well put together, polite boy, but the one thing is he was Bailey's boyfriend when she was alive, so that's obviously very controversial. But she also likes this other boy whose name is Joe, and he's new at her school, and he's like very good looking. He plays guitar, they're both in band together, but they have a lot of drama on the way, and she has to decide between those two people. She's afraid that she's going to betray her sister by dating Toby, but she's also, but she also really likes Joe, and it's just like very frustrating how much she has to like choose between both of them. She has good and bad times with both of them. It's obviously a romantic story, but her family is also really cool and unique. I love Len. She's very curious and musical and poetic and maybe like artistic as well. And she also loves writing poetry, which I think is really cool. The way that this book was written was really well done. I thought it flowed together amazingly, and the words that she used to describe things were really cool, and you always knew what was happening inside Len's head. It was a really uniquely written book with a lot of ups and downs and great characters. So I rated this 5 stars out of 5 on my Goodreads. And if you guys want to follow my Goodreads, it is right here. It's Sadie Aldis. It's where you can write reviews, see what I'm reading, I can see what you're reading. I will friend you back, and it's all in all just such a great time. I'm just obsessed with this book, and I hope you guys can get my obsession for how much I've rambled on it. But also look at the back, it's like yellow. Yes, good job. So the next book that I read in August is Note to Self by Connor Franta, and I had Connor Franta's first book, A Work in Progress, in my first book video, which is my July book haul, and I enjoyed that book so much. Now, Note to Self was supposed to be a deeper look into his life, but personally, I didn't really feel like it was like that, just in my opinion. In A Work in Progress, he kind of went through his whole life story, and he knew what was going on in his head, you knew the challenges that he had to overcome, and I thought that that was really personal. I feel like this book was a little step down from that. It was still really interesting and so well written. A Work in Progress was a lot funnier, I think. It was more of a lighthearted read, and Note to Self was more like in-depth with his emotions. But the pictures and the photography in Note to Self is so amazing, and there was also poetry included in it, which I think is really cool. So I think the best aspects of Note to Self was the poetry and the pictures. In my opinion, it was a very good book. I kind of pulled Connor to like a higher standard because I loved his first book so much. So this is the review that I wrote on Goodreads. Connor has done it again with another amazing, detailed, emotional read with lots of aesthetically pleasing pictures and poems with deep meaning. Literally sums everything up. It was very aesthetic, and all of the poems just were really like deep, and they just like hooked you right away. They were emotional, but they weren't too hard to like grasp or understand. Please read this book for a closer look into Connor's experiences and thoughts on life, love, success, happiness, and much more. So I think that his first book was more about his life story and the challenges that he faced. This next book is more in the present and in the future of how he's going to be, and how his challenges back then have shaped who he is right now and how he's thinking forward. I rated this book 4 stars because it was a really amazing book, but I didn't like it as much as his first one. The next book that I read this month is Bloom, Navigating Life and Style. This is Estee Lalonde's book, and I honestly didn't know about her before I saw this book, and I was like, wow, this cover is super pretty and I just want to read it. And also my friend Stephanie gave me this book, so thank you. I'm going to return it soon, don't worry. Estee writes about a bunch of things in this book. It's basically like her biography, but she also gives like a lot of tips in it as well. It's separated into different parts. I don't know if you can see that, but the pages are different colors. I really love when books are separated in some way, not just like chapters, but this one has different colors in the book, and for each section she has like a cover page with a bunch of pictures. Like she has very nice pictures in here. This is a very visual book, and I think she's a very visual person, so she has lists, different titles, subtitles, pictures, colors, a bunch of those things, which I thought it was really easy to read, and it was very pretty, which I very much appreciate. There are 8 different sections of this book, and the 8 sections are life, people, work, beauty, fashion, home, travel, and food, which are all things that I very much am passionate about, so I was really excited to see her take on things. She is also a YouTuber, and she's a beauty lifestyle blogger. She writes about her past life, her present life, and her future life, how she got into makeup, beauty, fashion, style, how she tried to separate herself from other beauty bloggers. I was reading this on the beach and I literally laughed out loud. There are so many like tiny little sentences that just like are so funny. So I love when books have a little bit of humor in it. I rated this book 3.5 stars. The only reason why I didn't rate it 5 stars was because it wasn't anything too different from other YouTubers' books that I've read, but like it didn't blow me away. I really liked it, and I would suggest that you read it, but it wasn't like amazing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah. The last book that I read in August is Gracefully Grayson by Amy Polanski. This book is about a 12-year-old boy named Grayson. He's a 12-year-old boy that wants to be a girl. He wants to be transgender, but he can't just get his mind around that. He always envisions himself wearing dresses and having nail polish and skirts and all those things. He's only 12 years old and he doesn't want to like come out to everybody. People at his school are very mean and immature. They're in like grade 6. So I understand how he was like very scared about that. His parents passed away in a car accident, so he lives with his uncle, and I think it's his aunt or like his godmother or something like that. So he's trying to not get bullied at school. He's trying to think, how am I supposed to tell my friends or my one friend? He literally has one friend, which is so sad. How is he supposed to tell his friend that he wants to be a girl like her? He tries out for this play and he tries out for a girl part, and that is when like the whole story takes like a basically, he has this teacher that he loves. He's so supportive and he's so nice and polite and he favors him. He's like one of his favorite students. It's just such a good relationship, and he tries out for this play that teacher is like organizing. So this is basically a whole controversy that happens. His aunt or whoever his female fit person mom thing is, and a lot of things happen with her. She doesn't agree with him being a girl, but there also are a lot of happy parts in it. It's just like, ugh. It's a lighthearted story, even though it's not a very lighthearted subject, if you know what I mean. Amy added comedy to it and positivity, and it's not a very like deep, like emotional, depressing story. It's pretty lighthearted and it's pretty positive. I just found it super interesting, and it was written really well, so I gave it 4.5 stars. So I really enjoyed that. Currently, I'm reading the book Paperweight by Meg Haston. I am on page 181 of 288, so I'm practically like almost done. Not really, but whatever. This is about a 17-year-old girl named Stevie. She mysteriously killed her brother Josh when she was younger, and that just kind of stuck to me in right away, and I was like, what the heck, like what did she do? This book is mainly about Stevie's experiences with anorexia. Her father, who was a alcoholic, drunk, blah blah blah, he sent her to this rehab place where she doesn't get along with everyone. She just wants to be anorexic. She doesn't want to be bulimic. She wants to be worse. She wants to be the skinniest possible, and that is because she is planning to kill herself in 27 days. Yes, that is very depressing, but just hear me out, She wants to commit suicide because she killed her brother, and she wants to be close to him because she feels so bad. I know that is very sad, but she is warming up to a lot of the girls that are in the rehab center, and she has a therapist. They're trying to help her, but she doesn't really seem like she wants help. And once again, this is kind of like Gracefully Grayson, how I don't know anything about this topic, but it's really interesting to hear what they're thinking, how they're feeling, and all their experiences. And this is not a very depressing book, not at all. I don't like reading those books. It's just about her experiences and what she's thinking and how she's trying to follow through with her 27-day plan. I'm really excited to see how it ends. Like, will she abort her plan? Will she go through with it? Will her therapist help? I'm going to probably finish this book like today. Now I have 2 books that I'm going to be reading in the month of September. It is school, so pray for me that I actually get time to read these books. I probably won't, but we can hope. The first one is I Woke Up Dead at the Mall by Judy Sheehan. Sheehan. I don't really know how to pronounce that, but yeah. And it was $6, so thought you'd want to know that. So basically it says, I'm dead. Maybe when I opened my eyes, this would all be some fever dream and it would be over. It would be like that last scene in The Wizard of Oz. Everyone was worried about me, but now I was okay. Murdered. The word flashed like a beacon inside my head. Murdered. Why? Who? Why? I spoke out loud but very quietly. I want to get out of here. I want my dad. I want my life. I want my room. I want my music, my stuffed animals, and my phone and everything else. Help, please. I had to finish the unfinished business of my life. Then again, my life was nothing but unfinished business. I was unfinishable. This is basically about a teenage girl named Sarah who was unexpectedly murdered, even though she was not mean or anything like that. She was just murdered. And her afterlife has begun in the Mall of America, which, once again, I love malls and I love shopping, so yes please. And also the front cover has like her sitting there and then some mysterious guy sitting there. I'm interested to see what happens with that. The last book that I'm going to be showing in this book haul is Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallach. I honestly don't know how to pronounce names. Okay, this was also $6. As you can tell, it was on the bargain rack. And it says, Parker Sante hasn't spoken a word in 5 years. While his classmates plan for bright futures, he drifts along, hanging out in hotels, watching the guests. When he meets a silver-haired girl named Zelda Toth, a girl who claims to be quite a bit older than she looks, he'll discover there might be a few things left worth living for. This is probably going to be a very interesting and unique love story because there are not a lot of unique love stories out there, and I'm sorry I can't talk. I don't know if I just stuttered, I don't know if you noticed that, but I did. But in the cover it has like him sitting on one side and then like a mysterious like teenage girl that is wearing a costume. Once again, books have to be really weird for them to draw me in. I'm super excited to read this weird, unique love story, and I hope that it will be as interesting as the cover. That's really all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And if you want to follow my Goodreads, it is on the screen once again. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!